Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Oh god, there's a hair in my cup of tea. Thank you for clicking on today's video. So I have a feeling today's video is going to be super short, super quick, but I mentioned filming this video in one of my previous ones and a lot of you guys said you'd be interested in seeing this video. So I thought even if it is just a short little recap, I thought I would get this video filmed and uploaded for you guys anyway. So I know this isn't going to be for everyone and I'm not usually much of a book girl. However, in 2023, I made it my mission to read lots and lots of books. So that is what I did. And I think, how many did I read? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I read 10 books in 2023, which might not be a lot to some people. For me, that is very, very good because the years before that, I probably only read like 1 or 2 books. So I really got stuck into my reading and I feel like I've got a good mixture of books here, although they do kind of all tend to sway more towards like the classic girly love story book. That is what I tend to sway towards. However, I am open to reading all kinds of books. So if you finish watching this and you think there might be some books that I would like to read, or there's ones that you think you would recommend me, then please do let me know down below in the comments because I need some more books to read for this year. Anyway, I've decided the way I'm going to film this video is I'm going to do it in order. So I'm going to go from my least favourite working up towards my favourite book of 2023. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. I'm not going to talk to you too much about the actual book because I feel like if you're interested, you can go and Google it and read the blurb online, because I'm not going to lie to you, some of these books I read like pretty much a year ago from now and I can barely remember them, but I do remember which ones I enjoyed and which ones I didn't. So we're going to start from the least favourite one, which I actually bought this on a whim. I remember I had like a voucher or something for Waterstones and I went in and just kind of looked around at books and this one caught my eye. I loved the cover of it. I hadn't really heard too much about this book, but I decided to pick it up and go for it anyway, which was a bit of a whim for me. And I have heard good things about this book. I know a lot of people really enjoy this story. However, for me, I personally just didn't really enjoy it. I feel like I didn't really understand it very well and I just didn't really get the hype around it. So my least favourite book that I read in 2023 was this one, The Virgin Suicides. Yeah, so it's basically about 5 sisters and it goes through each of their individual stories and talks about what happened in each of their lives, and it's all very weird. They kind of are like this weird family that no one really knows a lot about, and then one after the other there's a lot of deaths in the family and it kind of, yeah, just talks about that. But I was just expecting it to be a lot better and I was expecting to learn a bit more about each of the sisters, but I remember reading it and just getting really confused and like I just found it really hard to follow, and I also didn't really feel the urge to pick it up when I was reading it. So I didn't really enjoy this, but again, this isn't to say that someone else might not enjoy it. This could be someone's favourite book. Just for me and my personal preference, I really didn't get this one and I just didn't really enjoy reading it. So that one is at the end of my list. Then my second to last favourite might surprise some of you because this was a huge hit back last year. This book was really, really popular and I know a lot of people loved it. I didn't not enjoy it. Like, it was a good story. I just didn't think it was as good as I was expecting it. And I feel like from what I can remember, I didn't really enjoy the ending. And I just sort of feel like I finished reading it and I was a bit like, oh, that was it. And it's How to Kill Your Family. So yeah, again, a lot of people love this book. I just didn't really enjoy it. I can't even really remember what it was about. Like, I genuinely don't really remember the storyline. I remember it wasn't really what I expected and yeah, just personally didn't love it, but maybe the same as the other book, like maybe I just didn't really understand it fully. But yeah, for me, this one was down at the bottom of the list. We've then got another one, which I think was, again, I kind of randomly bought this one because I liked the cover, which I think I should now learn not to do because actually some of my favourite books from last year, probably the least aesthetically pleasing covers, so maybe that's a lesson learned on my behalf. But yeah, this next one was a random one. I hadn't really heard anyone talk about this, but I picked it up because I liked the sound of the blurb, and don't get me wrong, I did really enjoy this book. Like, I actually did enjoy reading it and I thought it was a nice storyline. I think it was quite a comforting book if I remember rightly, but it just kind of wasn't anything to write home about and it didn't make me feel excited or anything like that. But it's Small Pleasures. Really cute book, right? Look how cute the front cover is, but doesn't always mean it's a good book. Yeah, I did enjoy it, but again, it just didn't really get me gripped, and I just found the story to be a bit like, there were some good bits in it. I remember some of the chapters were quite good, but yeah, I just didn't really love it. I feel like I'm going to be saying the same thing for every single book here, but I don't really know what else to say apart from whether I did or didn't like it, and hopefully that's helpful to some of you, regardless. So the next one I did enjoy. It's a very big book compared to what I normally read. Quite a hefty book, and I do think I got through this quite quickly actually. Like, I did read it quite fast. It was a very easy to read book, and I did enjoy it, and it did make me laugh, and it was good, and I would recommend this to someone. If you're just looking for like a nice, easy, light-hearted book to read, then this is definitely a good one. So it's Confessions of a 40-something fuck-up. Yeah, like I said, it's kind of like a bit of a Bridget Jones vibe, about a woman who's in like her mid-40s, and she kind of like isn't really where she thought she would be. And I read this at a time, I think I actually read this when I went through like a breakup, and it's just, yeah, like a very light-hearted, good feeling book, and something I would definitely recommend if you want something to read. It was funny, it was easy to read, had a good storyline, very easy to follow. But yeah, again, it's kind of halfway through my list because it wasn't really anything like to shout about. But I did enjoy that one. We've then got this book, which I'm trying to remember when I read this, probably not that long ago actually. This was one of the more recent ones. And again, I did enjoy this. It's a good one to read like on holiday, I would say. It's like a very summery book because she kind of goes on vacation in it, and I did enjoy this. I think, if I remember correctly, the first half of the storyline was a little bit slow, and then it did get good towards the end. But it is Book Lovers, which I think was just a random one I picked up in Sainsbury's one day. So yeah, I did really enjoy this, but again, it just wasn't like right at the top of my list. I think there are definitely better books out there, but it was a good one and definitely worth reading. It was like your classic girl is like upset, goes on holiday, and then like meets a guy. Like, it was that kind of classic story. So if you are into that vibe, then I would recommend it. Okay, next one is another one that I just randomly picked up in Sainsbury's because I liked the cover. But this was actually a really good book, and I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I loved it. I feel like it had a lot of different storylines going on all at the same time, but like not too difficult to follow, because I don't like that when it's really confusing. It was a nice little book, so very quick read, and it was, again, easy to follow. I really enjoyed it. There wasn't much like suspense or anything like that. Again, I would say it was just a nice, easy to read kind of happy-go-lucky book, with a few little twists and turns that you kind of didn't really expect. So yeah, it's like a very modern book. It kind of talks about a lot of modern day topics, which I really enjoyed, because that's not really what I would usually go for when I choose a book. But I loved it, and yeah, I thought this was really, really good. So I would recommend this, and it is called Not Exactly What I Had in Mind. Really, really good book. Okay, so we've got 3 books left. The next one I'm going to talk about was another one I think I read quite recently, and this one was good. Again, I feel like I'm saying this every time, but this was like a proper feel-good, girly book. I don't really know what else to say about it. It was interesting. I feel like I would recommend it. Again, really easy to read. Like, some of the pages, there's barely any writing on. But yeah, I'm going to go straight in and tell you what it is. It's called 7 X's, and it was a really funny, good book where basically the girl has like a bit of a crisis, and she reads in a newspaper that you only have 7 people in your life, like you love 7 people, and one of them is going to be your soulmate. So she goes back through all of the like past lovers in her life and rekindles the flame to see if there's anything there, and it was just really good. And I'm not going to lie to you, I can't actually really remember what the ending of this book is, so maybe it wasn't actually that memorable. However, I do know that I enjoyed reading this book, and I would highly recommend it to everybody. Okay, then we've got second place. So this book was, yeah, one that I actually read quite recently, and I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I think it was really heartwarming. There was a lot of like good plot twists in it, and yeah, I really, really loved this book. I don't really know what else to say about it apart from it is kind of your classic love story, but I'm a sucker for that, and so I really enjoyed it. And it's called Only Love Can Hurt Like This. This was, yeah, one of the most recent ones I read, and it's basically about a woman who goes through a divorce, and then she goes to visit her dad and stay with her dad, and then she meets a guy who's also like gone through a very difficult relationship. His wife died, and so he's kind of learning to come to terms with that, and then they meet, and then it's like a very long kind of story between them with lots of twists and turns that obviously I'm not going to go into because I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, I would highly recommend this book if you just want a nice love story, a nice romantic book, then definitely go for this one. And then last but very not least, well, technically first in place, is this book, which I read a really long time ago actually, and they also made this book into a TV series which I watched, and that was just as good as the book, so I'd recommend reading the book and also watching the TV series. But it was The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. I loved this book. I feel like it was such an easy read, it was funny, it was romantic, there were like little twists and turns in it, and I just really enjoyed it, and I honestly didn't think I would love it as much as I did, but it's got first place for me for books from 2023 because I loved it so much, and I remember then watching the TV series and loving that as well. I think you have to watch it on Paramount Plus. Yeah, Paramount Plus original series. This is the book with like the cover from the TV show, but there's also other covers for this book. But yeah, I just feel like this is a book everyone should read. It was really good, light-hearted, funny. I just really enjoyed reading it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this one. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my little roundup of books for 2023. I know it was really short. I said it was going to be a short video today, but I just wanted to film it in case any of you guys were interested and wanted to know my book recommendations for 2024. Also, let me know down below what books you think I should read this year, because I'm always up for a new book and definitely want to kind of go out of the typical genre that I tend to stick to. So yeah, let me know down below what you'd recommend, and thank you for watching. I hope you're all doing super well. I'm going to finish my tea and I'm going to get some housework done. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.